I do have a thing though. So I haven't had fake boobs, but I have had this testicular torsion surgery when I was 15, and even
The same thing.
What?
yeah, I was sitting.
What happened with your balls that you needed to untwist your balls surgically?
So a lot of people have heard this before. So in fast forward, Kyle took his headset off. In fast forward, I guess I don't know if it's your vas deferens or whatever, but there's some sort of like tube that holds your testicle, and mine was longer than normal. So it allowed the testicle to turn up. And I'm sitting there in biology class in 10th grade, and it hurts. Like it hurts like a bunch. And I felt my jeans were too tight or something, so I kept like pulling them down and giving myself a little more breathing room, and it's not resolving the problem. So so I go to the nurse, and I'm like, my testicles really hurt. Like, one of my testicles is a lot of pain. And the nurse didn't want to, like,
Props for you for going to the school nurse. I would have been like, look, you need to let me call my mom so I can, like, have the pediatrician talk to me about this one.
Props maybe, but it hurt a lot. Like, I was
so
getting a little concerned. And the nurse didn't want to like cup them and check it out. So she got, I think, a gym teacher over who may have had some sort of first aid training.
Coach Paterno, over here.
Pretty much, yeah. So
Cup Woody's balls.
The gym teacher comes over, and I drop them, and he touches them, and he's like, he's like, look, I don't know exactly what's going on here, but there's something going on, and we need to get this guy.
Let's get Sandusky over here. He'll know what to do.
Oh shit!
Make some like gym teacher pun, like let's no dodgeball, and then just send you to the hospital.
And at this point, I'm like moaning and stuff, like I'm in pain. And they're like, you know what? It's between classes right now. We can get you on a stretcher and into an ambulance, nearly privately. If we just fucking get on the ball, presto. And that's what they did. They got the ambulance there. Nobody even knew. And we're headed across, like, it's hard to describe it, but like this road that's on a bridge at 45 mile an hour limit, we're going like 80. And I'm like in the back, like moaning and like, oh God, and I'm like, can you go faster? Cause I'm looking for some relief from this. And the passenger's like, yeah, dude, can you go faster? And he's like, I'm going 80. Like it's pretty quick for an ambulance in a 45. Like it's not like maneuverable. And, we get there, and I'm in the emergency room, right? And we're all separated pretty much just by curtains, like there's a lot. It's like a big room with just curtains dividing everything up. And I'm like the noisy one. And my father, he's like, they're taking care of you first. Keep it up. Because like you can walk in there with a broken arm, and if you're like, oh, dude, it's chill, then they're like, all right, but this guy over here, we don't know what the scoop is. And they wheel me into a room that says nuclear medicine on it, which like this is like the early 90s.
I've seen that room. I always think like I want to go in there. Maybe I'll come out fucking supercharged. I want to get up in there. I don't need that shielding. Don't give me that lead vest. I just want to hide behind the machinery.
Prior to that, my calves were like toothpicks. Yeah. and so they wheel me into the nuclear medicine thing, and I guess they injected my like circulatory system with something.
See, I'm gonna want some of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, inject me with something
in there, man.
and then they're able to like, I guess, blast me in some way, and they can just see where the blood's flowing. And
I like it.
It's not flowing to my balls like it's
sort of a Hulk type thing.
Yeah,
sort of.
And
so like, there's something wrong with your balls, Woody. We gotta.
Yeah, well,
I thought it was something cool, like you had like done a kickflip and like the skateboard had like twisted your nuts.
You know how you seal up some bread when you're really
exactly.
and you want to eat your sandwich and you're just like twist. That's what happened to his balls.
That's all I thought it was.
He almost got castrated, like self-castration. It sounds like
they went in there and they sliced right down down the sack and I forget. I don't know what color he said they were. It was gray or dark gray or black or black or something.
They're supposed to be, right?
Yeah, he's like, it wasn't good. He's like, we saw these things, and he just sort of unspun them in place. And he's like, immediately they pinkened up. Like he was very pleased with the reaction to being unspun.
Like, those are some healthy testes right there, boys.
Yeah, and he's like, I think we're gonna be okay here. And by like day 2, I think I spent 2 nights in the hospital. He was just like, dude, it's good to be 15. Like you were bouncing back, even your stitches heal quicker. Like everything was good. And I was worried about my fertility, but those questions were later answered.
Hey.
And that's it. I actually have a couple stitches that hold my testicles in place right now for life that stop it from ever happening again.
I want to
Yeah.
get that as a preventative measure.
You can touch mine and see if you like them. If you
Yeah.
feel just right, you're like, oh yeah, there's the stitch.
I'm telling you, it is a real upgrade.
Oh, you can go
It
with-
is.
yeah.
Stitch ball stacks.
Jesus fucking Christ, I hate that story. Every time you tell it, I just want to check the fuck out. Every single time. Because it just sounds like the most aching. I know what it felt like. I know it sounds silly, but I know what it felt like. I'm
Everybody
imagining a
knows.
dull, aching pain that goes like from
To the
testicles
stomach.
to like belly
right here,
button.
yeah.
And it goes all the way wide, and it just hurts, and you can't even nail down exactly where it hurts because so much stuff is hurting in that area, and it's just excruciating.
You're
It's just
crushing
like right
it.
after
That's
somebody
exactly
goes-
what it's like. And we probably all felt that, but it goes away in like, what?
Seconds.
Seconds, like even 30 seconds is weird. You see it in UFC fighters a lot. Like they get kicked in the balls, and then they're like, can you still fight? And 30 seconds later, he's not even should I go back? Like I kind of at 100%, but mine
Yeah.
lasted for hours. And that's the
No,
Right.
thank you, dude.
Yeah.
How did we
Yeah.
get on that?
Medicine
We were
for it?
talking about titties and whores and having a good old time.
Oh yeah. So the whole reason that popped into my head is during that procedure. Nicely done, Kyle. I developed
Hey.
kind of a I lost my what is it called? Like not vanity, but like I lost my shyness around this. Inhibition, maybe. And like doctors are walking in, just like looking at my ball sack, and I'm like, so better. What do you think now? And almost like a pregnant woman, like by the time they're ready to deliver the baby, they're just like, whatever. Here's my hooch. I've been showing it off for 9 months now, and it's they're just like not private about it
Is it
anymore.
a sheer lack of inhibition, or was it like some Vicodin loosening you?
It could have been. I
Check my
don't know.
balls, doc. Check them out.
I don't know, but just having you had a whole team of people in the OR, and you had the doctor and the nurses have been checking it and like replacing your bandages. So this woman, who I think has had like many boob surgeries, is probably just not the same level of shyness as someone who hasn't. So there
No.
it is.
Yeah,
Tens of
I
thousands
find
of
that
bucks on something to hide it.
True.
It's like removing a tumor or something like that. But this is
most
not.
women aren't very shy about their boobs as long as you're not a weird creeper about it.
That's true.
There's a very fine line you have to walk.
Yeah.
I call it the titty line.
It's a razor's edge. Apples on it.
It absolutely is a razor's edge because you have to be interested in the breasts, but you can't be like stroking yourself while you do it. It has to be somewhere in between where like
Now I
clearly-
know where I'm going wrong.
where like clearly
Are
interested.
those real?
Yeah, you have to be at least 60-40 split where like 60% of your interest is like medical and scientific and general curiosity, and the 40% is just general attraction. And that way you don't come off as a real
You have to
weirdo.
you have to feign more curiosity, so it's
Like
more.
yeah,
Oh,
those aren't fake. No way, those are real. Can I give them a little? Yeah, all right. Yeah, something like that. And you get some titty squeezes in, and we could totally get Woody hooked up with somebody with some fake boobies. I'm sure there's dozens.
There's probably
of listeners.
someone watching this right now who's like, you know what? He can do it to me. I don't
Yeah.
want to let that poor old man die without ever having touched.
Or maybe
an
your
enhanced
wife
boob.
out there. Maybe she's got some fake titties that Woody could give a honk. We're looking for some big ones though. We don't want we want like some big giant stripper titties. So that
Really?
like
Somewhere
yeah.
between that and what we're seeing here in this picture, because this picture here is frankly just unappealing. It looks like a video game character that a 12-year-old got out of control with. And
So here's the deal with like the way fake breasts feel. It really depends on a few different things, and one of them is how big the breasts were before the enhancement. Because if she went from like a B to a C, those are some nice boobies. If she went from a C to a D, those are some really nice boobies. There's lots of like real boobie on top to like feel when you're like touching them before you get to the enhanced part, which frankly feels like a bag of
too small
solution.
and you jump too much, then it removes all the density of the titty flesh, and so you're
Yeah.
just feeling that bag of viscous. Is it saline now? Is that what they do?
saline,
Yeah.
silicone. It depends. But you know, it's very hard. The skin can be very tight. It doesn't bounce or do cool stuff. That's not always ideal, but you know, to each his own.
It's pretty
If-
logical.
There's no such thing as a fake titty anyway. If you can touch them, they're real. That's my book.
Yeah,
So-
I've never touched a fake boob, but a lot of guys are not fans of fake boobs.
It's
As are liars.
I was gonna say it's like all depending on what Kyle says. Like if you have somebody who goes from like an A cup, like there's not a lot, like you just put it underneath the muscle. So like if you don't have a lot there to begin with, and you go up a couple cup sizes, like yeah, it's probably not gonna feel that great, and it's gonna kind of look a little wonky because it's not proportional to you or something like that. But if you get proportional boobs, like maybe up 1 cup size from a B to a C, like he said, or a C to a D, like it's gonna look normal, it's gonna look good, it's gonna feel pretty normal. But at the same time, like you can tell. I mean, it's like you can, you know, like a good squeeze or two, and you'll be like, something's
It
fucky
depends.
right here.
I think I've experienced that 4 different times.
have.
There was one lady who's had just very, very big boobies, and she was actually older, like she was in her late 30s, I'm gonna say, but she had went from like a C to a D seemingly, and those were excellent. Those felt real, and they were like big and like unnaturally perky and all that stuff. Those were excellent.
Those are like, yeah.
But sometimes I've also known very tiny girls who it was clear like just didn't have any boobies at all. They had like an A cup or less, and they had gone to like a C. And in that case, it's just like super tight skin, like 2 half circles just pop like stuck to the chest.
Like a drum skin, like a snare drum almost.
Yeah, very very tight fitting.
Dead
It's
tight.
yeah, that's not the best.
No.
So it really depends. And I've also known girls that went from like a B to like a big C, and that's pretty nice too. It just really depends on the surgeon as well, because I know they can do like under the muscle or over the musculature, and I think you want it to go under. I think ideally you want them crammed in through the armpit. And in some cases, you know, they're moving the nipples around. They're cutting the nipple off and moving it somewhere else. You
Don't
gotta
fuck with the nipple. I don't want
you
you.
gotta make sure you don't get all like crazy eyed like something with those nipples, because like yeah, I feel like that's a big part of what makes breasts
Some really
attractive.
fucky
It's
nipples.
like, you know, symmetrical nipples that whether they like turn up or go straight out and look at you.
My
or they're-
taste in nipples changed as I went through puberty.
I like all nipples. There's no bad nipple. There are
like
bad nipples.
Amazonian 3-inch nips, just like fucking.
You know,
So-
any size really.
Any size I'm with,
Yeah.
but I'll say this: what happened was when I like the 9-year-old version of me like small nipples, right? That was this thing. Nipples should be smaller. The smaller, the better. That was just like tight, perfect, put together, etc. And then as I got older,
Like dude nips. They should be
yeah,
like dude
you know
nips.
what's funny? Because as I got older, it was like, you know what? I don't like nipples that look like mine are not what I'm looking for anymore. I want nipples that look like hers.
I don't care. I like all nipples. Like redheaded chicks have like tiny little pink nipples, and those are cool. And like Filipino chicks have like these really dark brown chewy nipples, and I like those too. And you know,
Milk dud
they can be
nips.
big and red. And
I love
like-
that they're chewy.
Yeah, they're chewy. yeah.
Kyle,
That's so nasty.
like yours, like very short or like a pixie stick cut in half. stuck
I don't
on.
care. Like they could be long. They could literally be like, you know, like an inch long or something, or they could be like really
All
tiny.
right, bullshit.
I'll
If you
one up-
can't, like
I'll-
give a blowjob to a girl's nipples, like
Yeah.
there needs. No,
I'll one up Kyle.
we need to
I don't
fucking
care if
cut
there's a hairy
those right
circle.
now.
Broke that nipple, boy.
I don't
Get
care.
it down there. Get it down there.
I don't care if there's a circle of hair around the nipple. I'll still do it.
Well,
That is
you-
not a.
You'll suck some dick
First of
nipples.
all, I'm not surprised, but let me just say that's a no fucking go for me.
See, I want
If you have a hairy nipple,
Yeah,
then
you
I will
can't-
bite
what
the
is
hair,
wrong with you?
yank it out, and then leave. I'll be like, I'll come back when you finish the job. like,
That's what
So
you do.
gross.
I have an AMA
You
question.
leave while berating her. I just did you a favor. I'll be under control. And then you just storm
yeah.
out.
I got no problem with like pubic hair or anything like that, but if there's nipple hair, that's way too much. And if there's a happy trail, I know Woody was just like creaming in his pants every time he sees one, but like I'm
That's
kind of
so
checking out on
nasty,
that
dude.
too.
Same way that women
You need
feel
to have
see a nice belt matching nice shoes. That's how Woody feels when he sees a little bit of nip hair matching the happy trail. He's like, "Oh, that's excellent. The tone, brown with brown. Nice. You didn't mix it up." Like,
Well put together. Like I like the consistency here. Like